Hi. So you probably know China is a pretty competitive country, but what you might not know is that ping pong is the number one sport in China. You could have probably noticed this from the Olympics, but I'm here to explain that throughout Chinese culture, ping pong has remained the most popular sport throughout China. I'll do that by explaining the popularity of ping pong in China, how they dominate the Olympics, and at what age they begin training. Popularity is huge. This first began because they wanted better public relations and to recover national pride. Ever since Chairman Mao declared for ping pong diplomacy in the 1970s, as pointed out by a Business Insider article on why China is so good at table tennis, like here. This is Chairman Mao and President Nixon agreeing on ping pong diplomacy. So, since then, the country has embraced the sport. And it's also played by older people, not competitively, just for fun. The youth there just play for fun, mainly basketball, badminton, volleyball, table tennis. Table tennis is number one with the older population. There's tables in parks, so older people tend to spend more time there. It's also easy to play. It can be played cheaply without much space because there's tables in parks and neighborhoods. The Business Insider site also points out that a reported 10 million Chinese play competitive ping pong, with some 300 million who play on occasion. It's just natural for them. Moving on to another factor, there are elite schools for ping pong. Kids train from a young age, as even as 5 or 6. These kids train for at least 7 hours a day with specialized practice partners, and even 2 at a time. They even have a competitive sports analyst. China is ruthless for a national team. They pick players most likely to medal. I found a number one school in Beijing. It's called Shaisha High, spelled Shichahai. It was said in a different article by Business Insider on the grueling Chinese sports schools that train kids that Shaisha High is just one of thousands of intense sports-centered boarding schools with kids as young as 6 who show early talents in sports like taekwondo, table tennis, gymnastics, and badminton, and they train for years in hopes of bringing money and honor to their families. And a lot of educated parents tend to stay away from those schools because education is not the main focus there, it's the training. Why would they do this? A lot of these kids come from disadvantaged families and they want a chance at city living to come out of poverty. The Training Schools article also mentioned that the dream of Olympic domination lives in these schools and feeds off these kids where they are even preparing for the 2020 games and beyond. Another factor why the sport is so popular is the Olympics. As I found in an article published by the New York Times on the amount of Chinese-born table tennis players representing different countries, is that in the 2016 Summer Olympics, Chinese-born table tennis players represent China and even 21 other countries out of 56 in the tournament. What I meant to show you earlier is this is Shaisha High. These are some of the kids that are training there. Look how ripped this little boy is. That's really hardcore training. And this just highlights this huge scope of China's influence on the sport. They want to dominate. As found in the New York Times article, China has won 28 out of the 32 gold awarded in all competitions since table tennis was even added to the Olympics. They have taken gold in all 4 table tennis events at the 2016 Summer Olympics. Why? China has always strived for gold. China almost always sweeps the table tennis competition due to their devotion and its popularity among its people. So overall, I informed you on the popularity of ping pong in China and how they dominate the Olympic Games and what age they train. So now if you're ever planning to go to the Olympics for ping pong, you have an insight on which country is going to be your competition.